Hey everybody, this is the Thursday episode of CCS. My name's Cody, and you're watching that Christian news show thing that I do. Don't have any personal updates, so we'll go straight on to our first story, which is... Last Friday there was a shooting at the White House. Somebody shot 2 bullets at the White House. One of them hit the building, one of them they found around the vicinity. But luckily the bulletproof glass and the security and stuff all worked well because our White House has that kind of thing. And the man, Oscar Ortega Hernandez, was actually arrested like several minutes after it happened. So they're not really like worried about Obama's safety right now. It was something that I guess they looked at as petty. And there was just no real threat to them, which that scares me. But that like the building gets shot and they're like, no big deal. But I mean, I guess there was no Christian relevance to that specifically, but I figured I should let that out because that was one of the news that caught my eye. And I figure if I don't report things that aren't on the top stories, that you guys will be like, wow, he really sucks in the news because he's not looking at the top stories. So, I mean, I could point out the obvious that this guy shot somebody and that's unchristian to shoot at things. Not at things. Hunting's fun. There's something in the Bible that says can't hunt. Poor Bambi. Anyway, I mean, so I could point out and say, hey, don't try to kill people. Trying to kill people is a bad idea. But you should know that, hopefully. If you don't know that, well, you're in the right place. Keep going to church. So going on to our second story, we're going to talk about Penn State and Nebraska. Question, why would you talk about a football team again, Cody? Because I'm a Tebow fan. You might have heard about Penn State. One of the coaches, he molested a bunch of children. It was really, really sad. Tons of victims. I think there was like 20 and there could be more. Don't hold me to that. You didn't hear that report from me, and you probably should have. But, before the game of Nebraska and Penn State, they decided to pray. Both teams, holding hands and everything. They got down in center field, and the two teams prayed for all the victims of this Penn State incident. It was really, really powerful. Of course, I left a link in the description below so you can see that. It's a video of them actually praying. You can hear the crowd going wild, like, ah! And then slowly they realize what's happening, and they're like, oh, wow. And like people are crying, and it's just really, really powerful. 2 football teams doing this, like, that's way better than Tebow. So yeah, props to them because that was just an amazing thing for them to have done. So our third story might turn the heads of some atheists. In the Army, they have this thing called a psychological evaluation. They see pretty much if you're sane. So pretty much, they're wondering if you're mentally ready for battle, if you're mentally ready to be doing the job that you have to be doing. And Captain Ryan Jean wanted to do really well on this evaluation. But he was asked the question, do you think there's meaning in life? He's being an atheist, and not all atheists, I know, whatever, I'm not going to get into that. Most atheists believe in a naturalist life. They were born out of chance because of nature. In which case, there is no meaning to life. It's all up to chance. So, he, being a true atheist, said no. I don't find a meaning in life. The psychologist awarded this with a free ride to the chaplain, to a priest, a Catholic priest, who then continued to tell Captain Jean that he was worthless and that he shouldn't be in the army because it's God's army and he shouldn't be in there if he doesn't believe in God. You don't tell somebody that they can't be in the army for their faith. An atheist, you can say, oh no, it's not a faith. It is a faith, and even this Captain Ryan Jean guy is saying, hey, it's a faith. So what happened was he got really mad, obviously, because a Christian dude is being to him, and it's just messed up. That is hate, and Christians don't hate. Shouldn't be doing that. For one, it's not God's army. I hate to break it to all the patriotic people, but God is not an American. America is like the farthest from a Christian nation, and I know a lot of people like to say, oh no, we were brought up on Christian values. Yes, we were, but if you look at it, it's a free country, it's for different beliefs. I am going to give someone the right to believe what they want to because I get to believe what I want to, and that's what I like about this country. And I'm sure God doesn't want it forced upon people to believe in Christianity because then they don't actually love Him, and that's the whole entire point of the faith. Either way, Captain Ryan Jean has decided that he wants to make his own atheist chaplain. Which, I mean, that doesn't work because chaplain is about God and worship. But I see where he's coming from and people are berating him like this. In all honesty, I do believe that he should be given a choice whether or not to go to a chaplain or to an atheist counseling thing. There's also debate because on the Navy boats they have a nightly prayer and they was trying to get into that and say, oh, you shouldn't do that either. In which case I say that should be the captain's discretion. I know a lot of people get really mad at me about that. And like my liberal take on politics. I am politically literal, but I am personally conservative. Don't hate. And from that we go on to our final story of the day, Ashley Biano, who after giving 140 tweets of how bad her life really was, committed suicide. And her mom is blaming the police for this. So what happened is 18-year-old Ashley was physically and sexually abused throughout her life. Her mom actually admits that she knew that Ashley was being sexually and physically abused. She tried telling everybody, nobody ever listened. She says that her final straw was when she told someone about it, and that person told her there was no chance that the alleged suspects would ever get penalty, that she would never get the person into prison. And so after that, that was just too much for her. She committed suicide. To the creeper pedophile person, you're doing terrible things and you need help. To the boys and girls who've been physically abused or sexually abused, or just contemplating suicide, anything really that makes you contemplate suicide, you need to get away from that somehow. And if it takes a police officer, if it takes the police or the government to get rid of that person, then you need to do your best to do that. And the final people I need to talk about this is the police. If you ever are like, there's not enough evidence, you need to do your best. That is your job. You're supposed to keep people safe. And there's people that don't feel safe. And to everybody else, you need to do your best to stop things like this from happening. Really, really sad that it went this far. Going from that, we're going to go on to our verse of the day. So the verse today is pretty short, but it's pretty powerful dealing with what we were talking about. The verse of the day is Galatians 6:2. Bear each other's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ. And the question of the day is, in your opinion, should the Atheist Chaplain get his own chaplain, or should people not worry about it and should it not be that big of a deal to people? Leave your answer in a comment below. Love to see what you guys say, always. Which, by the way, I am loving that a few of you guys are actually posting answers. I seriously do ask them to see your guys' input. I like to see what you guys think. So I'm actually reading these. So please do answer these questions. It's really, really cool to see what you guys have to say. And if you have anyone else that would like to answer those questions, feel free to get them on here, because more viewers the better. Get them into Jesus. Jesus is good if I'm portraying Jesus. If I'm not portraying Jesus very well, then don't do that, because that defeats the purpose. I mean, I wouldn't personally portray Jesus, but with the Bible verses and stuff, if I'm giving Jesus to you guys in a good way, then go get other people to watch it. And if not, they can go watch something else, because I don't want to be counterproductive. So in closing, haters keep hating, Christians keep praying, and to everybody, like and subscribe. I will see you later, and God bless.